Hey everybody. So hopefully you're set up in your position where you're comfortable. We're gonna just do a brief settling in. We're not gonna start with a meditation because we're gonna do a longer one at the end of all of the slides. We're gonna do the body scan, and we need more time to go through the whole body. So if you just want to make yourself comfortable, we'll just settle ourselves here and come into the body, into stillness. So we're just going to make sure that our backs are straight, always checking our posture. Feel your contact with the seat and the strength of your spine keeping you upright. We can allow everything else to just relax. And we can just gently close our eyes for a moment and come into the body and feel the body sitting here as a whole, and feel whatever is happening in the body right now at the moment. And we say yes to whatever is here, and softening the body all around. We're just going to take 3 deep breaths. So breathing deeply in, and we hold the breath, feeling any tension in the body, and then we're going to slowly, when we can't hold it any longer, release. Another deep breath in. Be aware of the tension in the body as you release your breath, and soften in those areas and invite that area to soften. And one more deep breath in. And feel your spine nice and straight, and the body now just hanging and resting in its position. And just let your breath go to its natural rhythm. And we keep our attention on the part of the body that we can feel the breath most obviously, in the tummy or in the chest. And we can open our eyes now and just start to listen as well as being in contact with our breath. So this week, it's just the 4 of us, so again, we can get into more depth with any questions you have about your practice up to date. We did say that by doing your practice regularly, you should really start to see a difference with the ability to concentrate and sustain attention for longer periods of time after about 4 weeks. So we're only 2 weeks in, so you still may notice that it's very difficult for the mind not to wander, and that's okay. So we're going to just briefly go over the foundations of mindfulness again. We have been working on mindfulness of breath, and that is a part of the foundation of mindfulness of body. But we're going to go into the second phase of that, or of the mindfulness of the body part. And we're going to just review the purpose of the foundations and understanding the importance. Sorry, there's an airplane in the background, very loud. Let that pass. So we're just going to discuss a little bit more about the importance of those 2 aspects of mindfulness that are very, very important, which is concentration and attention, the training of the mind. Mindfulness of body, so we started with the breath. We're going to continue and go into the body scan practice. And I'm going to do a 30-minute guided body scan practice with you. And that should be it. We can have some discussion and talk about some accounts of people who first started doing these practices, which are quite comical. Okay, so we talked about in week 1 the 4 foundations of mindfulness, and the Pali word for the discourse of this teaching that Buddha taught is called Satipatthana Sutta. So all mindfulness practices that we're going to learn are rooted in this one important discourse taught by the Buddha. So the Satipatthana is often translated as the 4 foundations of mindfulness, or the great discourse on establishing mindfulness, the mind. So Buddha clearly stated when he taught the 4 foundations of mindfulness to his disciples that this is the direct path to liberation from suffering, and we discussed what that is desire. It's the mind's habit of clinging and of attachment, and this is the underlying cause or root cause of that is ignorance, of not seeing clearly into the true nature of all things. So the 4 foundations of mindfulness is how we know our mind and its tendencies and habits that cause suffering. So we see through our practice, without judgment, how our own mind travels away from the present moment. And then we start to train the mind, and this is the concentration and attention, to one of the 4 foundations that we're going to be concentrating on. So we've been working on keeping our attention on the breath. And this is also how we free the mind from desire and ignorance. And the 4 foundations of mindfulness that we discussed are mindfulness of body, mindfulness of feelings or sensations, mindfulness of the mind activities, and mindfulness of phenomena. So, of course, the purpose of the 4 foundations of mindfulness that was taught was the direct path to liberation. He was very clear in stating that. So the purpose is also to develop concentration and attention so we may know, train, and ultimately free the mind. We will continue to refer to the lotus in the mud as symbolism for this process unfolding in our mindfulness practices. So the mud represents our fears, our struggles, confusion, and pain. And this is all rooted in desire and ignorance. And the lotus represents the development of the inner heart and the qualities that grow out of our practice. You need to keep in mind always that it is these qualities that is the essence of what mindfulness is all about. So mindfulness is non-judgmental awareness free from grasping, aversion, or reactivity. So we could say it's clear seeing. Mindfulness is the space where compassion, love, wisdom, acceptance, generosity, tolerance, to name a few, and understanding grows. Mindfulness liberates the mind from desire and leads us back home to our true nature. So these qualities are all within us. You could say that these are the qualities of the heart. So understanding concentration and attention. So remember that concentration and attention are key aspects to being able to be mindful. In the context of mindfulness, concentration does not mean striving. So this is very important to understand, because when we think about concentration and attention, and the mind is constantly wandering, this is where we can really struggle and forget that these qualities are what we're trying to develop, which is we're bringing the mind, but we're also doing it with acceptance and kindness and patience. So we keep bringing the mind gently back, not judging the mind when it wanders. If we've gotten lost in our thoughts for a long period of time, that's okay. It's very, very normal. And so this is important that we understand that we're dropping effort once we bring the mind back to the object, and we're learning to rest once we bring the mind back to the object. And we are dropping thinking and struggling and simply resting in open awareness. The first of the four foundations we said is mindfulness of body. We have started with the breath, and that's called anapanasati. So when we were doing this practice, we can go further after we establish some concentration and attention. So breathing actually connects our mind to the body. The breath is the cord or the connection to the body. John Kabat-Zinn makes clear the powerful connection between meditation and breathing when he writes, "The breath is the current connecting the body to the mind. It is the current of life. Meditative breathing is a way to connect with the here and the now. Breathing is central to every aspect of meditation training. It's a wonderful place to focus in training the mind to be calm and concentrated." And mindfulness of body, the body scan. This is the next phase of the foundation of mindfulness of the body. Once we have developed the ability to sustain our concentration and attention on the breath, we can gradually include both pleasant and unpleasant sensations in the body. Sensation possibilities we might notice are tingling, tightness, pain, heat, coolness, buzzing, pulsing, or itching. And this one is very common, numbness, believe it or not feeling anything, especially when it comes to mindfulness of feelings. And even nausea. That's just to name a few of the sensations that we can experience. So the body scan alternates between a wide and narrow focus of attention, from focusing on your little toe all the way through the entire body. The body scan trains your mind to be able to move from detailed attention to a wider and more spacious awareness from one moment to the next. Benefits of body scan practice. So regularly practicing the body scan can help you enhance your ability to bring your full attention to real-time experiences happening in the present moment, and helpful when emotions or thoughts feel very wild. So we could say that we anchor our attention into the body, especially during those times, but we have to train when we're not in those strong emotions or thoughts or feelings to build that capacity to become aware of when that's happening and to know where to bring the mind back to and to let go of struggle and allow whatever is happening in the background. So I would say that the body really is the home that we're coming back to, and we're going to be penetrating our consciousness deeper and deeper into that so that we can clearly rest and see things. And so to train to explore and be with pleasant and unpleasant sensations, and to learn to notice what happens when we simply hang in there and feel what's going on in the body without trying to fix or change anything. It helps your mind become more focused and train your attention to shift from one place to another at will. Shift your attention away from your thoughts, and basically we're moving into, instead of the thinking, we're moving into the sensing, which is a receptive state. We are trained to constantly be using our thinking mind or our active side of our mind and planning, and sometimes if you really observe, it feels like the mind never stops thinking, and that pretty much is the imbalance as a result of not training. So this will help us shift away from the thoughts and actually have a break and indirectly help process emotions that may be trapped within your body. Usually the thoughts are very active because, again, it's desire. It's trying to figure its way out of being uncomfortable, and it actually makes it worse. Um, it, and so, like we said, it's moving you from doing mode to actually being mode, and this is how we can sense and feel the other qualities that we were talking about, which is coming from the heart, and that's how we're actually nurturing these qualities. In the receptive mode, other things start to open up. So I'm going to just see if anybody wants to talk about the mindfulness of breathing practice that you've been doing over the past 2 weeks before we get into what we're going to do with the body scan, and I'm going to guide you. So I'm just going to open it up for everybody if they want to discuss anything, any comments. Roma, you're on the mic if you want to talk.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, so I just put you off mute just in case you wanted to add to anything here. I know that you've done a lot of training in mindfulness. We're just basically opening it up to discuss our practice so far in the past 2 weeks.
Hmm.
And before we get into the body more deeply. If you don't have any questions or any comments, that's fine too.
Yeah, I think what I've noticed with any of these practices is that you have to go really, you have to be very patient and you have to go very slow. You cannot hasten any of these processes.
That's right.
And there's a lot of initial frustration that practitioners experience, and they tend to give up and they say, you know what, this is not something we can do. But I think that is the time when you need to show compassion to yourself.
That's right. See,
Mhm.
that's why we have to emphasize what mindfulness really is, and that it is a very non-striving practice, but to learn to do that, we don't even realize that we're
Yes,
striving, and that's what causes a lot of tension and inner frustration.
yes. Because if you're going to
How,
focus on the end result, you will always be frustrated. It's about the process.
and it's about developing patience and non and letting go of judgment when it's happening, and
Right.
recognizing how easy it is to be in that state of judgment. It's just very
Yes.
difficult because our minds are
Yeah. And
so
I've always,
strongly conditioned to either like
yes,
something or not like something.
yes. And that's why I always believe that one should not be attached to any results or outcome. Just
Yes,
flow with the process.
very good point. And what I like to
Yeah.
really emphasize is some people say, I feel really peaceful. I don't know if you've noticed this with other people or yourself. And then when they go into their practice and they have a practice where there's strong emotions or the mind is really chaotic that day, that they think that's a bad practice, a bad session. And
Yes.
we're actually moving away from those categories of good or bad. It's the fact that we're coming and sitting, regardless of what is happening, and that's the quality that we're talking about. It's accepting everything, and the mind is being trained, and those opportunities are creating a stronger um, opening of patience and those developments. So having a
Yes, and
difficult,
ultimately, yeah,
sorry,
yeah, ultimately it's about doing your practice sitting on the cushion, but
yep,
it is you've got to move that onto your day-to-day life. If that's not happening, then that's really not practice.
yes, and there is no good or bad practice is the point. So if you whatever is feeling is there, we're allowing it to be, and we're actually building tolerance to these strong states of being a human,
Yeah.
and that's the kindness aspect.
Hmm.
Being kind, allowing us to have those feelings, letting them be there, bringing space for them. So what are
Yeah.
the, sorry, airplane, very loud, these airplanes in the back. What are some of the, oh, I'm just going to read what Savannah said.
Hmm.
Okay, so Savannah says, I'm finding it difficult to practice regularly, building it into my daily routine. And that's very common, right, Roma?
Yes, yes, it's okay. You just have to say to yourself that it's okay. Just be very patient. It's you just have to give yourself. Um, I think it's very important to show compassion to oneself throughout this practice. It will happen when it has to happen. You just have to put in the right effort and have a sincere intent, and that's what you begin with.
Yes. I wouldn't expect at this stage for anybody to have a regular practice. It's the intention, like you said, Roma, and then eventually the mind will follow. So we do our
Yeah.
best to schedule that in. But I find that the mind will want to remember, or you won't have to struggle with trying to force yourself to do it when you start getting the benefits. Because I think once we start having a regular practice, then we start to feel the benefits. It becomes one of those things that you feel you're missing, and then start to realize, you know, to become mindful, and the mind becomes more malleable, meaning it's happy to rest.
And I think it is basically unlearning and learning new things. So, you're rewiring your brain, and that's not easy. It takes time.
Yes, very well put. So there's some of us in the class who the first week I don't think they practiced at all, Savannah. So hopefully that answers your question. And some of us have more busy routines, so finding that place or that time where it fits in, you might have to play with that a little bit more as well. Okay, so just Irene, if Irene had anything more you want to talk about the practicing so far? I'm not sure if Irene can still hear me. Oh, She can type. It wasn't going through, so that's good. Irene, do you have any comments? Oh, she's typing. I've been struggling to practice on a regular basis, but often do a short meditation after yoga. Yes. So the same as Savannah, it hasn't really become into a daily part of your daily routine yet, Irene, as well, right? So how often do you do yoga? Okay. So I would, it looks like don't, you do actually feel the benefits of when you meditate. It's just actually finding the time to do it. Is that right? It hasn't been a struggle to actually, once you're meditating, you find that it actually gives you ease and stillness. Yes, Roma?
So I think if somebody is doing yoga mindfully, it is a mindful practice.
Mm-hmm.
That's called mindful movement.
Yes, it's part of the mindfulness of body.
Yep.
So, Irene, when she does sit down, my question was, does she struggle with it, or it seems like she enjoys doing it? It's just finding that actual sitting down, solitude kind of time to practice as opposed to doing activities. So what our homework was for the past 2 weeks was to try to sit down for 30 minutes, either break it up in sections or try to do that at least 30 minutes of focusing on breathing, mainly because what we're trying to build and establish is sustained ability to sustain concentration and attention and know our own mind and learn to be able to come come to a place where we can sit down and observe that. So sometimes when we're doing other activities, we might not be really activities we might not be really um, fully mindful that we are bringing our mind back to a specific focus. But but it's going to take time to establish that as part of a routine. But I would still recommend it in this course to try to bring that sitting down part as a regular part of your routine and focusing and training the mind. Because, and the reason why I state that is the concentration and attention aspect to clearly know that's what we're working on. And also because that once that it gets stronger, when we're having difficulties or our emotions and our mind is very wild, we have established some ability to bring our mind back and to let go of the thoughts and to be able to become aware that this is happening and have the ability to focus the mind on something and sustain it so that we can let that pass and not suffer as long as we normally may. Some of us, things, we could be triggered emotionally and it could take days to get out of. Okay, so obviously there's nothing wrong. This is normal. Very common in the beginning and part of this course too is learning about it and then deciding if this is what you want to include as a daily practice and understanding why we're doing it and the purpose behind it. Irene says I try to practice mindfulness when I am doing things such as hanging the wash, doing dishes, trying to be fully present in what I'm doing and observing the things around me like the birds, the breeze, the sky. And I found really intense moments of calm and centeredness. Yep, that's definitely open state of mindfulness, being very present with everything around and that feeling of calm and centeredness. So what we're going to do if we don't have anything else to discuss, is there any other questions that you might have or comments? Roma, are you still on the mic?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm still here.
Okay.
I do believe that a sit down practice is very helpful, but it may come slowly. That's
Yep, it's going
okay,
to
but
take
I
time.
think it is very helpful.
That's what I hope that's what I'm getting across is
Yes,
the importance of the attention and concentration so that when our mind is really wild, we have some kind of control of it.
yes.
So there's actually something that I had written down about that. Let me read this slide here because this is what Swami Vivekananda. Can you read that on the slide, Roma?
Not really. It's really small, but you can read it for us.
It says the flow of this continuous control of the mind becomes steady when practiced day after day, and the mind obtains the faculty of constant concentration. Concentration is the root of all the higher abilities in man. That's what Bruce Lee said. And Baba Ram Das says meditation and concentration are the way to a life of serenity. So this is, oops, that's why I wanted to kind of go over that because it helps you understand the importance of doing it. And sometimes that motivates you to sit down, even if it's for 10 minutes. Okay, I'm just going to keep bringing my mind back because it's very important to understand that we're trying to free the mind and we have to do this in steps. The mind we have to know what's happening and when it's happening in the mind. And by having a intimate connection with our breath, the breath gives us that flexibility of mind. And the mind actually starts to move into that, breathing in, breathing out, into that letting go when things arise. and being very gentle about it. The breath is a very subtle, very gentle part of us. Um, and it's, yes, so I'm going to be,
I Yeah, Heather, I just wanted to say that before we for me, I'm talking all about what I'm thinking. I think a journey inwards or a journey within is very important first before you start focusing on things outside you. It
absolutely,
has to
Roma.
begin, the journey, it has to begin within first. Because when we are mindful of things outside, don't you have to understand that your mind, you don't understand if it is really focusing or your mind is distracted. There is a difference.
Yes. And the
Because the
qualities
nature
within
of our
us,
mind is to jump from one thing to another.
yes, our minds are very, very, very untrained. And what the main point here is, what is receptivity? Meditation is is not an active part of using our mind. It's a receptivity part, which is why we emphasize what qualities are being developed. So the heart is how we're actually nourishing our being by being in this receptive state and bringing the mind back from being so active. And the qualities are the most important thing of what's actually being nourished in this state of non-doing, of receptivity. And that's what we're going to emphasize in this body scan today. It's not going to be a typical body scan, Roma, because what I wanted to do was I wanted to bring to mind these qualities. So if we use the lotus as our symbolism, I'm going to keep coming back to that. So our emotions, our likes, our struggles, our pain, all those things that are inside of us, and those things that are arising, sometimes dormant, that is the mud. And so in our meditation, we're bringing our consciousness deep down back into the body where these things are. But instead of stirring all that up and struggling like the mind normally does to try and get away and distract ourselves and be busy, busy, busy all the time, we're going to open up very slowly, but recognizing that we're opening to feel these qualities inside of us, which is the love, the compassion, so that the lotus petals are being touched by these qualities and being nourished. So I wanted to do a little bit of a guided meditation to really emphasize keeping in mind that it is these qualities that we admire and that we hope to have, and also we admire in others and are very grateful when others are kind to us and compassionate to us, and that's the ultimate true nature of all beings. And this is what we're trying to develop, nourish, and recognize that this is our true being, and this is the home that desire is really searching for. That's actually what desire is looking for. Would you agree, Rama? Okay. So I think I'm going to, if everybody, Roma, are you still on the microphone? Because I saw you type, but I can't hear you.
Yeah, yeah, I'm here. No, I just wanted to say, I think the moving outwards versus inwards is, I think the main difference is the act of doing versus being.
Yes. So when we do mindfulness practices like Irene's talking about, doing dishes, doing other things, I think from how we're starting deeply with the breath, that's the part of coming in deeply into our
Yeah.
space within ourselves so that we're nourishing our being. and that we're opening up our being and letting go of struggle and desire and clinging and all those things, so that this is how um, we're in this getting to know our own mind, we can recognize when we're not in that state. And so when we're doing things, mindfulness is going to start to expand. So we're moving from just the breath
Yes.
and
Yes.
always having that connection, that intimate connection with the breath, and
Mhm.
establishing that first, because this is a foundation that we're building that keeps us in our own domain. So Buddha really talked about, when he was teaching everybody, stay in your own domain. Because when we move, when the mind starts to go outside of itself, that's when illusion, or what he called the mind, is kind of starts getting snagged into those desire kind of seeking states. So we find that we're never satisfied, and again, drawing on those resources from inside as opposed to always chasing things.
Yes.
And this is also considered what they call a refuge. So your body, most of us don't have body awareness. So this guided body scan is about having body awareness and embodying mindfulness. So when when we have that mindfulness of the breath and we start to move into the sensations of the body, we start to actually embody awareness into the body. We're bringing space
Mhm.
into the body. And so that the mind actually becomes more spacious, so that these things arise and they can move into their movements. So let's just say we have pain, but the body is giving space for that pain, so that those we're not struggling with it, so that these sensations arise and move out, and that spaciousness that we're bringing in the mindfulness grows and grows inside. So if we want to get going with the meditation, because we've already moved in, this is 42 minutes, so I'd like to do a guided meditation. So if we in this particular body scan meditation, they recommend you can lie down or sit, or you can still do your sitting practice if you'd like. So if any of you feel like you want to lie down and you can still hear me clearly and really relax into this meditation, go set yourself up. You can have a blanket on you if you'd like, or maybe a pillow underneath your legs. I'll give a couple of minutes to do that. If you need to use a washroom or get a drink. When you're ready, just type yes in the message box when you're ready to get started on the meditation. Okay, great. So whatever position you're in right now, just gently start to close your eyes and find where your breath is, its own natural rhythm. And feel the sensations of your breath where you feel it most. And just rest your awareness gently on that area, whether it's the belly, the chest. And bringing to mind those qualities we talked about that we're developing, that we admire in others and that we would like to have in ourselves, such as love, compassion, wisdom, kindness, patience and tolerance, tenderness and gentleness. And just feel your heart as we contemplate those qualities and feel the space in your heart. And imagine now as your mind is calm and clear, aware of the breath moving in and out, softening into those sensing of the breath and softening into the sensing of these qualities that are within us already as a warm white light that we can feel. And using your imagination for a moment here, visualize that as a white light or a sphere that's sitting above your head. So as if the lotus flower buried in the mud, and the mud is settling and the waters are settling by just resting here in this open awareness. That warmth feels like the light of the sun gently shining on us. We can imagine that we're breathing that light into the whole body. And as we exhale, we soften the whole body, opening up and bringing space for that light to travel down the body part by part. So I want you to imagine that that light, that bright white light like the sun, is in a clear, clear blue sky. And that clear, open, vast, spacious sky is your heart. And moving our attention now, we're going to bring that white sphere of light to the size slightly smaller than our heads. So as it's radiating above the head, We're going to start to bring it down into the center of the head. And imagine we can feel or sense that light as it moves into the head, into the center of the brain, the right hemisphere and the left hemisphere. I want you to start to feel the left side of the brain. As if when we breathe in, that spaciousness and that warmth comes into the left side of the brain. And as we exhale, we soften. And just observe or sense what sensations are here in the left side of the brain. And then feeling on the right side, the right hemisphere of the brain, those qualities of spaciousness and warmth. We breathe that into the right side of the brain. And feeling the sensations that are happening right now in that area. Also feeling that the front of the forehead, as if we were sunbathing in that feeling of that sun gently touching our face. Starting with the forehead, let's relax the muscles in the forehead and feel what that feels like, the sensations in the forehead right now. Feel the eyebrows and the space between the eyebrows. Connecting the right hemisphere and the left hemisphere together in the center of the brain. Opening up there for that to pour in like liquid light. Feeling the spaciousness in the heart and the warmth growing in the heart. Feeling the cheeks, the muscles in the cheeks. Feeling the lips, the jaw, softening the jaw, and the tongue just resting on the roof of the mouth. Feeling the sensations in the whole face and in the mouth, the tongue, and the jaw. And softening in those areas and letting it be. And moving our awareness to the throat and the neck. Imagine that sphere of light moving down into the throat. Feel our neck muscles, whether they're tight here or not. Feeling the quality of that warmth and that spaciousness. Let the throat and the feeling of the throat just rest in that open awareness. As if we're breathing that light into the throat and letting that move into the space that we're opening up here into the thyroid gland. Feeling the right side, the right thyroid gland. and what that may feel like as we're very much aware of that area of the body. You may have sensations arising there. You're feeling the left side of the thyroid gland, and that freshness and spaciousness of the blue sky and allowing, bring that light down into the shoulder on the left hand side and into the space between the shoulder and the neck, where we very much tend to hold a lot of tension here. And see if we can soften a little bit here by feeling that warmth and inviting that warmth and that spaciousness in that area. And feeling the whole upper arm and the elbow and letting go there, as if the light can travel or that warmth can travel down into the elbow now, and feeling the whole bicep and the upper arm, and moving down into the wrist and the forearm, and feeling the hands and the sensations in the entire arm on the left side. Feeling your fingers, wrist, forearm, upper arm, all together. And letting that go and coming back to the throat and moving your awareness to the right shoulder now. Softening the shoulder and the space between the neck and the shoulder. And when the breath comes in, imagine that we're breathing that sensing of that warmth and that spaciousness of the open vast sky and the warm sun. Feeling the elbow of the right arm and the whole upper arm as if the light can pour down and bring into the wrist awareness of the sensations in the wrist and the right hand and the fingers on the right side. Feeling the whole right arm and the sensations in the right. Feeling our throats and letting our arms rest in a comfortable position if we're lying down, maybe beside our body with our palms up, or resting in our lap now. And dropping deeper into the body now from the throat. We move that sphere of white light right into the center of the thymus gland, upper chest, above the heart. Imagine that space, the open sky in your heart. And you might want to bring a gentle smile to the face at this time, like an inner smile of the eyes, the face, relaxing deeper into this sensing of the warmth in our hearts and allowing that sensation to grow into the lungs, sensing the lung on the left side. And when you're breathing, that feeling of the lung being filled up with that light and spaciousness, and the sensations in the left lung. And feeling that move our awareness over to the right lung, and that as we breathe in that warmth and that spaciousness moving to the right lung. And I like to say the word yes when I'm dropping into my receptive feeling or sensing body to allow what may be there that I might have been unaware of or that's been pushed away, to soften to any kind of feelings in the heart, any tender, raw feelings that may be here or present in the heart. And saying yes kindly to allow whatever's there to be in that space. Moving our awareness now to bring that light, that warmth into the upper belly, right under the rib cage in the center, what some call the solar plexus. Just trying to sense where the food would move down the track and into the stomach, right at the upper belly. A lot of tension can be held in the upper stomach. I feel as we breathe in, making contact or connection with the sensations of the feeling in the stomach. And what that would be like is if we could sense the warmth and spaciousness coming in there. And the feeling on the left side of the upper stomach, which will be where the pancreas is, and the spleen. Feeling that whole area, allowing that to be in the space of our awareness. All the sensations that are there now, exactly as they are. Moving our awareness to the right side of the upper stomach, where the liver is, the gallbladder, letting go of any contraction or tension that we may be holding here. And that warmth, saying yes to whatever's here as well. Kindness, a gentle curiosity. What are the sensations happening here? And allowing them to be. Feeling the whole upper body, the whole upper stomach. And moving our awareness down, relaxing inside here, sensing or feeling the whole intestine, nourishing the whole intestinal tract, feeling it, feeling that spaciousness and that open warmth. softening in the belly, starting to bring our awareness down, and our center of gravity moving from the thinking mind deep into the belly. You might even start to notice that the belly is moving with the breath, and you can feel it more, as opposed to feeling the breath in the chest. Letting the breath naturally move in its own rhythm. We're just letting it move like a wave into the space that we've created here in our awareness. And imagine that light, feeling it in our entire belly. Moving that light now down into the lower abdomen. You can start to sense and feel the area, the parts in this region of the body. Starting with the reproductive area. Feeling the right side or the right ovary in the fallopian tube. And even sensing the uterus here. Bringing a gentle warmth and open spaciousness to this area. And letting the breath touch and move deep into this area. And this liquid light is filling us up. And feeling the left ovary, the left fallopian tube as well as the whole uterus. And the sensations in the entire reproductive area. Allowing them to be exactly as they are. Feeling the back as if we can open and sense in that open sky in our back, and the sun and the warmth now shining on our backs. Upper back and lower back. Dropping our awareness now into the hips and the pelvic floor, starting with the right side, the right hip, letting go of any contraction, even in the right buttock. And moving to the left side, left hip, through the perineum here. Relax the whole pelvic floor. Imagine the light in this region and sensing and feeling the spaciousness and the warmth here. Um, Sensing the bladder here as well. And feel or sense the ureter tubes on the right and the left moving up to the kidney. feeling the right kidney and the right adrenal gland. Whatever sensation is happening here, let that be in the spaciousness and the warmth of our awareness. And to the left, from the bladder, ureter tube, and the left kidney and adrenal gland. Feel that inside. It's a sensation of whatever's there now. And moving into the right thigh, and to the right knee. Relaxing the right thigh and the right knee. And into the left thigh and the left knee. Feeling them both at the same time. And the sensations that are here now. Warmth and spaciousness in our awareness. Feeling the left knee as well as the right knee. Softening here. As if the sunshine that we feel on our face has moved all the way down our bodies and now feeling it on our legs. And moving our awareness to include both calves, right side and left side. Letting go if there's any tightness here. Sense and feel the sensations in this part, the lower legs. Right down to the ankles and the inner right foot. Feeling the heel, the ball of the foot, top of the foot, the big toe, second toe, the third toe, the fourth, and the initial toe. Feeling the whole ankle and the whole right side, the right foot. And moving on to the left ankle, the heel on the left side, the ball of the foot, the top of the foot, the big toe, the second, the third, the fourth, and the pinky. I'm sorry, the small toe, the pinky. And feeling the whole left side, including the ankle and the foot. Now imagine just feeling the warmth alone inside the body and the spaciousness alone inside the body. Feeling it with the body, the whole body. Imagine the body now as a whole, or seeing it, or sensing it as a whole, rather. Sitting where you're sitting, feel the contact of your seat, or where you're lying, feel where the body is contacting the surface, or the chair, or the floor. Feel the skin, and with the skin, feel the temperature of the air in the room with the skin. And bringing your awareness back to the heart, to the chest. And before we finish, I want to imagine your loved ones, and you'd like to have them also to feel this feeling of warmth and include them into your space of awareness and compassion and kindness. And imagine that light inside the heart growing into a white golden sphere, filling the whole body and moving towards your loved ones and filling their bodies and seeing the peace growing and the warmth growing. See them free from suffering, see them happy. And this could include those that are in body right now, your loved ones, or those that aren't. And if you'd like here, we can include the planet. Imagine the whole planet sitting in your awareness inside the heart, in the space in the heart. And imagine you as this bright golden white light like the sun, radiating out to include the whole earth. You can place your hand on your heart now, and to include all beings on our planet right now, maybe suffering, and that they may feel this warmth and this gentleness and this kindness and this spaciousness, and they too may be happy. We can slowly start to bring our awareness back to the space in the room around us, and slowly open our eyes, stretch our bodies if we need to, adjust your eyes to the light, include the sounds in the room, and just observe how you feel now in the space in the room. How open the senses are, maybe how different things feel as you've opened your eyes. And if you'd like to make any comments about that meditation, once you're back in the room, let me know how you feel.
So Heather, since I had a very long day today, I realized the
Oh,
fatigue
great,
that
Irene.
certain parts of my body I was experiencing.
Savannah and Roma, are you
Can you hear me, Heather?
Roma can unmute. Yep,
Can you
sorry,
hear me?
Roma can unmute. Hello.
Yeah, so I sensed a lot of fatigue and tiredness in certain parts of my body. I've had a pretty long day today. um, and so I felt certain parts feeling like I could really sense the fatigue.
Did you feel like you could start to regenerate there with that sensing of the warmth and maybe start to energize a little bit? Or did you find that it
Sorry?
helped bring energy to those areas? Or
No, I don't think I had the energy to bring energy to any. I
or to
think
feel?
I had difficulty
Oh, you had
focusing.
difficulty focusing. So meaning your mind was very tired.
Yeah, yeah. My body. I think it was my body was tired, and I think my mind was tired too. So I was not able to
Yes.
focus.
Sometimes with this guided body scan too, it's actually recommended if you fall asleep, it's okay because if you read here on my instructions, if you fall asleep, that's okay because
Yes.
a lot of us,
Yeah, I'm sitting in a chair. So yeah, I was sitting in a chair, so I couldn't. I mean, I was. My eyes were really heavy.
yeah.
I could sense that.
So um, it is nighttime for you too as well. So it's a different time of the day where your body, maybe that's what it needs. But this
Yes.
meditation was to basically
Yes.
try to use the visualization of the light to be those qualities or to represent those qualities so that we're using our sensing body to feel what we're nurturing um, in our mindfulness meditation. So the
Yeah.
compassion, the
Yes.
tenderness, the kindness, which we talked about, the
Yeah.
love,
Yeah.
as if we were the lotus
Yeah. So I
flower,
did
but
push
we were
myself.
resting in that
Mm.
mud, letting everything settle.
Mm-hmm.
And that can be
Yeah.
that letting go.
Yes.
Sometimes we're very exhausted, sometimes too, because we've been just so active. Like you said, maybe you've had a difficult day. So hopefully you get a nice sleep tonight, and maybe you can practice.
Yeah, I will. I think after
Yeah, so
this.
that's probably
Yeah.
not your typical body scan, but I wanted to let you guys know that's what I do in the morning. So in the morning, I 30 to maybe
Mm-hmm.
40 minutes, maybe more, depends, of that meditation. So visualizing those qualities and wanting to intentionally develop those qualities in my day, to recognize that that's my true nature, and then to bring that light all the way through the whole body, to fill the whole body with light, then to send that out to other beings. And that's how I start my day every day. I do the other types of mindfulness the rest of the
Okay.
day, like resting on the breath, and the body scan, maybe at night. So I just wanted to. Did you have anything else to say, Roma?
No, that's it. I think I will get good sleep after this body
Oh,
scan.
my
Thank you so
pleasure.
much.
I wanted to just kind of end here on a light note because I was reading some people's experience of the body scan on the internet, and these are like first time experiences.
Mm-hmm.
So you probably can't read my small letters here, but I'll read it to you. During the first few body scans, this guy says, I mostly thought about lunch and how my butt compares to other butts anywhere on the planet. Every so often, I would notice a sensation in my body. When I did, I immediately became alarmed or bored, or my mind just wandered off to Taco Bell. Only after being guided through many, many body scans did I seem to have a hold on call coming through moment. Was that me experiencing itches, twitches, cramps, screams, and just watching as they softened and settled? Was I only imagining that I was increasingly able to be irritated without needing to find someone to blame? And where's the fun in that? And then he says, something was changing in my relationship to discomfort. Discomfort. I noticed that I could stay more present and tuned in, even if I didn't like what I was feeling. And he thought that that was very interesting. So then he concludes, because he was doing more and more body scans, this is the same person. He says, that was a few years ago now. I notice that I'm increasingly able to stay and examine sensations that show up in my body when I feel upset on its way. I can be with my stressed clenched butt, my indignant jaw, my quaking belly. By practicing the body scan, I am learning to stay softly present to the united colors of stress as it tries to hole up in my body. More and more I can notice what I feel without having to hold on to it. I can let it go and return to the present moment over and over. Damn, I'm good. Oh, yeah, so this is somebody saying after a few years. So that was important to understand that this is this is a long time practice for us to be comfortable with unpleasant sensations in the body. That's why we have the breath and that we're training in concentration and intention, because if things get overwhelming, we come back to the breath and we drop that sensation in the background and we slowly remember to say, my favorite thing to include to try to soften opening to my experiences is to put my hand on my heart and say, whatever I'm feeling right now, can I allow it to be just as it is? Can I say, yes, sweetheart, it's okay to be here? And so I think I learned that part words from Thich Nhat Hanh, but that works for me all the time because I find when my mind is really, really racing or I'm over busy, you know, I can stop in the middle of the moment and just say, what's really here right now? And I might sense those qualities of compassion and love and presence, and sometimes also that tenderness and that those feelings that maybe I'm not in touch with, and I can just say, can I allow it to be just as it is in this space? And that really, really is a regular thing that I practice daily. Did anyone else want to say, Savannah? So very calming and peaceful, a great way to start the day. Wonderful. Okay, so I'm just going to stop the